Today I got the dummy gun out. I want to cover the five most common and also the most egregious errors that I see people make in their grip when they're shooting a pistol. Now, this goes for novices, but I see a whole lot of folks who have invested, thousands of hours into pistol shooting and still have these issues. So here it is, guys. Number one, this is the most common, and this is the probably the most egregious form error that I see in grip. I see people gripping a pistol, maybe like this, maybe like this, maybe something like this. All of those, I can see air between the tang and the webbing of the index and thumb. If I can see air, if I could slip a piece of paper between that tang and the webbing, I know that that grip is built too low. The amount of force that we put down here is less useful than the amount of force that we put up here. Talking about force on the back strap there. Recoil is pushing along the line of the bore, so 100 pounds of strength here is probably going to be overwhelmed by 5 pounds of push to the rear if we pinch low. Whereas 5 pounds of squeeze and pressure rearward on the tang, right touching the tang, is enough to stop 5 pounds of rearward pressure. It's pretty simple when you think about it, but so many folks they know this, but they don't take the time to really make their grip like routinely delete this little gap. So yeah, big one, guys. Here's what it looks like when I shoot a pistol. Yeah, especially on Glocks. My webbing of my thumb and index finger completely engulfs the tang. There's tension across that entire surface. So how to do that, how to repeatedly get that grip, and how to stack your grip like that quickly from a draw is something that I'll cover on the Patreon side. But for everyone here, yeah, eliminate that gap, guys. Number two, second most egregious thing I see is when people are using their support hand, they are not gripping the gun, they are gripping their fingers. This pinching on the tops of the fingernails here is the most common that I see. Not nearly as effective as filling your palm in and getting as much surface area of your support hand on the gun as possible. So the smaller the gun is, the less room you have in there. But this is a Glock 43X, and you can see I wear size large gloves, and you can see on my hands I can get all of that palm touching. So yeah, if you're gripping your own hand instead of gripping the gun, you are wasting a whole lot of the power that this hand brings. So that's number two. Number three is poor thumb placement and just the way that people think about their thumbs. People think their thumbs are doing some work, and people generally are trying to use like the ends of their thumbs. When you think about using your thumbs in shooting, this is the functional surface. These guys mostly just need to stay out of the way. The length of the finger, the digit, it just needs to stay out of the way. There's not a lot of force that you can exert on the side of the gun that is really all that functional. But people try, and so they do things like trying to take their dominant hand, the inside of that knuckle on the thumb, and try and press it in there. It's not really functional, and you are generally folks who are doing this are losing more in blocking this surface area, right? They're trying to get use out of this thumb, and the trade is that now their palm, the real powerhouse, the palm of the support hand, can't eat up this surface. So yeah, that is a fairly large error in thinking and approach. These thumbs, when I grip a pistol, this is how it looks. The thumbs are mostly just staying out of the way, the pads of the thumbs. The palm section of the thumbs are hardened, and they are applying a lot of force. But I get most of that force into the gun by keeping the tips out of the way. Number 4. When we think about gripping with our dominant hand, I see a lot of people that evenly grip across all of the fingers, and that is not what I'm trying to do, guys. I don't need even grip strength up here. I need to stop this pistol from tilting back and moving my wrist. So instead of thinking about curling these fingers in and applying even pressure, especially with these 2 fingers here, my middle and ring finger, instead I would encourage you guys to think about forming a hardened fist. Now, not curling a fist. If you guys have worked a heavy bag enough to injure yourself, this is something that you will intuitively understand. By engaging a little bit of rotation and pinky pressure and thumb pressure, that drive, that little tilt there, that is hardening the wrist. So those pressures are necessary. If you just curl in, no, not so great. It leaves all of the motion still in the wrist. It leaves all of the mobility in the wrist. I'm not moving my wrists to shoot. I would never say that I'm locking them, but this grip pressure has a lot to do with that structure that I'm building. So do not evenly squeeze the grip of the gun. Instead, what I'm doing is I am putting as much pressure into the tang with the webbing of my thumb and index finger, and then I am forcing even more pressure in this counter rotation, right, in this hold against the muzzle flip, by stacking pressure on my pinky. Okay, so that's number 4, where that pressure is applied. Number 5 is a similar thing. I am not curling my fingers to grip this gun. I'm not milking the gun. I'm not squishing it into my palm in the flat upper portion of my palm. I am building structure behind the tang and making a wall of bone directly in line with the long bones of my arm. So radius and ulna have a little shelf right here, and I am pushing the gun back into that shelf, really biasing that shelf at the tang. And the tips of the fingers are just pressing that into my palm. They're pressing down. They're not squeezing across, pressing in. So in the fist analogy that I gave, when I tell people who have not fought and have not punched things hard enough to hurt themselves with, I tell them to make a fist, and what they do is they curl their fingers really tight. That is not functional structure for what we're trying to do. Instead, I am presenting that shelf across the palm here, hardening that surface, which completely eliminates any play in my wrist. And then I am bringing the pads that contact the front strap, and I'm pressing that gun into that shelf. I don't need to curl these fingers at all to get full grip pressure on this gun. These 3 fingers can float off entirely. And on smaller guns, if I need to make more room to get more hand on the gun, I can actually move my pads off. I don't care if there's much gap on these pads. I don't care if there's a lack of pressure across these pads. I care that this front strap and this back strap are loaded to resist rotation. So that's where the pressure is. There's those 5 errors. There's a general process to eliminate them, guys. But there's a lot more to getting rid of these problems than a 10-minute YouTube video. So I am hitting these in depth for my patrons. If you want the in-depth method on how to do all of this right and not just how to avoid doing some of these wrong, go to the Patreon page, check it out. For everyone though, thanks for watching. Keep training. Stay safe.